She typed 2 words that morning. See you. But Lina Singleton never showed up. No scream, no struggle. Just an apartment frozen in time, coffee cooling on the counter, her dog locked in the bathroom, and a journal entry that reads, "If I don't come home tonight, it's because they found me." Who is she running from? And why does every clue feel like a breadcrumb, leading straight into the dark? A crisp autumn morning, the kind where sunlight slices through the fog like a blade. A young woman locks her apartment door, her breath visible in the cold air. She's wearing a cherry-red scarf, the one her mother knitted for her, and her footsteps crunch against fallen leaves as she walks away. At 8:03 a.m., she texts her best friend, "See you in 10. The message sends with a soft ping. 10 minutes pass, then 20, but Lina Singleton never arrives. Her phone goes dead. Not a single call. Not a shadow on security cameras. Even the chai latte she bought that morning sits half-finished, abandoned on a park bench, still steaming. By noon, her name is a question mark. By nightfall, a ghost story. What happened in those 17 unaccounted minutes between her text and her last grainy CCTV sighting? Was it a stranger's smile? A wrong turn? Or something she'd been running from long before that day? Something she scribbled about in her journal, buried under sketches of twisted trees and eyes in the dark? Years later, her case remains colder than the October air that morning. No body, no motive, just a dog named Milo, found trembling in a locked bathroom, and a single sentence scrawled in her notebook days earlier. I don't think I'm paranoid anymore. Why does this disappearance claw at our nerves? Maybe because Lina wasn't a headline. She was someone's "see you in 10, someone's last text, someone who stepped into the light and vanished like smoke. This isn't just a mystery. It's a warning that the ordinary can turn ominous in a heartbeat. And when the trail goes this cold, all we're left with is the echo of a question. Who was really watching Lina Singleton? To unravel the enigma of Lina Singleton's disappearance, you need to see her not as a victim, but as a person. A 24-year-old graphic designer from Knoxville, Tennessee, who loved burnt orange sunsets and the smell of rain on pavement. The kind of friend who'd show up at your door with ice cream after a breakup, or text you a meme at 2 a.m. just to make you snort laugh. Her coworkers called her the human sticky note. She never forgot a birthday, a coffee order, or the name of your childhood dog. Her Instagram feed was a gallery of ordinary magic. Milo, her scruffy rescue terrier, mid-zoomies in a pile of leaves. Watercolor sketches of the Tennessee River at dawn. A half-eaten donut captioned, "This is why I run." But scroll back to the weeks before she vanished, and the tone shifts. The posts grow sparse. The colors dim. A cryptic selfie shows her reflection in a foggy bus window, her smile strained, the caption reading, "Feeling like a shadow today." Her friends insist she was sunshine incarnate. But in private, Lina was scribbling in a leather-bound journal, its pages filled with frantic sketches. Hooded figures, broken mirrors, a door left slightly ajar. And then there's the entry dated 3 days before she disappeared. I keep seeing the same silver sedan outside my apartment. Yesterday, the driver waved at me. Tonight, I found a dead crow on my windshield. Am I imagining this? Or am I just next? Even her daily routines hid contradictions. She volunteered every Saturday at Paws and Hope Animal Shelter, bottle-feeding kittens, but kept her own apartment obsessively spotless. Like a museum, her sister said. She jogged the same 3-mile loop every morning, yet her browser history revealed late-night searches. How to disappear completely? Can GPS trackers be hacked? Lina Singleton wasn't just a missing person. She was a collage of light and shadow, a woman who laughed loudly but flinched at sudden noises, who donated to charity but hid cash in a hollowed-out book, who wrote, "I'm safe here," in her journal while installing 3 new locks on her door. So who is she really? The answer might lie in the voicemail she left her brother a week before vanishing, her voice trembling as wind howled in the background. Remember that camping trip when we got lost in the woods? I keep having that dream again. But this time, I'm not the one who's lost. Let's walk through it, minute by minute. At 7:45 a.m., Lina's alarm buzzed. She hit snooze once, a habit her roommate teased her about. By 8:03 a.m., she was out the door. The security camera at her apartment complex caught her locking Unit 4B, adjusting her cherry-red scarf and stepping into the autumn chill. She always left early, not because she had to, but because she loved the quiet of the city before it woke up. Her first stop, Brew and Bean, the coffee shop 2 blocks away. The barista Marcos knew her order by heart, a chai latte with oat milk and a dash of cinnamon. The security footage shows her laughing at something he said as she tapped her card. 8:12 a.m. Steam curled from the cup in her hand as she walked out. At 8:15 a.m., she passed Mr. Ellis, her elderly neighbor, walking his terrier Baxter. He waved. She waved back. Baxter tugged at his leash, barking at a squirrel. "Have a good one, Lina," he called out. She smiled. "You too, Mr. E." That smile, wide, warm, normal, is the last clear image anyone has of her face. 8:22 a.m. Standing at the corner of Maple and 5th, Lina pulled out her phone. She typed a text to her best friend, Claire. "Running late. See you in 10. Sent." Claire replied instantly. "LOL, since when are you late?" Hot beverage, but Lina never opened that message. By 8:30 a.m., Claire started calling. Straight to voicemail. By 8:45 a.m., she was pacing outside the cafe where they were supposed to meet, checking her phone every 3 seconds. "This isn't like her," she'd later tell police. "Lina's never late. Never." But here's where the timeline fractures. At 8:47 a.m., a gas station security camera 3 miles from Lina's apartment captured a figure walking past the pumps. The footage is grainy, distorted by glare from the sunrise. But freeze the frame, and you'll see a woman in a cherry red scarf carrying a tote bag. The timestamp matches. The location doesn't. Why would Lina be 3 miles off her usual route? Stranger still, when police showed the footage to gas station employees, all 3 swore under oath. No one matching her description came in that morning. So who or what was on that tape? The figure never enters the store, never interacts with anyone, just walks, slowly, almost aimlessly, toward the edge of the frame, where the camera's view dissolves into static. A digital ghost. Meanwhile, Lina's phone last pinged a cell tower near Riverside Park at 8:49 a.m. Detectives combed the area. They found nothing. Not her scarf, not her tote bag, not even a stray hairpin. But they did find her chai latte, still half full, sitting on a bench near the park's entrance. The lid was off. The cinnamon sprinkled on top hadn't even sunk into the foam yet, as if she'd set it down gently, then walked away. By 9 a.m., her bank account went silent. No transactions, no ATM withdrawals. Her credit cards? Untouched. Her Instagram? No new logins. It's like she stepped into a vacuum. But the most haunting detail came from Claire. At 10:30 a.m., she used her spare key to check Lina's apartment. The lights were off. The bed was made. Lina's laptop sat open on her desk, a half-written email draft glowing on the screen. "Claire, I need to tell you about the what? A person? A secret? A fear?" The sentence ends there. The police traced her steps, retracing every possibility. They interviewed Marcos, the barista. "She seemed fine," he said. "Just tired, like she hadn't slept." Mr. Ellis, the neighbor, recalled nothing unusual, just Baxter barking at squirrels like always. The security tapes? No sign of anyone following her. No strange cars. No shouts. No struggle. Except for that gas station footage. Forensic analysts enhanced the tape. They brightened the shadows, sharpened the pixels. What they found only deepened the mystery. The figure's proportions were off. Too tall. Shoulders too narrow. And the way it moved, stiff, almost mechanical. Like a puppet on strings. When they isolated the audio, there was a sound beneath the hiss of the tape. A faint, high-pitched whine. Engineers couldn't identify it. "It's not machinery. Not an animal. Almost like feedback," one said. But here's the twist. Lina's tote bag was found a week later. Not by police. Not by volunteers. By a homeless man named Joe, who swore he discovered it under a bridge 6 miles north of the gas station. Inside, her wallet, her keys, a tube of cherry-flavored lip balm, all perfectly dry, despite a rainstorm the night before. No fingerprints, no DNA, just a single strand of hair, not Lina's. The police ran it through every database. No match. So let's recap. 8:03 a.m., Lina leaves her apartment. 8:12 a.m., buys a chai latte. 8:22 a.m., sends her final text. 8:47 a.m., a ghostly figure appears on gas station footage. 8:49 a.m., her phone dies. 17 minutes. That's all it took for a life to unravel. But the questions pile up. Why did she tell Claire she was running late when she was ahead of schedule? Why did her phone ping near Riverside Park if the gas station footage suggests she was miles away? And why did the figure on that tape wear her scarf, but not her shoes? Yes, her shoes. Lina left wearing white sneakers, scuffed from her morning runs. The figure in the footage? Black boots, chunky, unlaced. The police dismissed it as a coincidence, a trick of the light. But Lina's family insists she'd never owned shoes like that. Never. So what are we left with? A latte cooling on a bench, a dog barking at nothing, a text message that reads like a lie, and a grainy tape of a woman who may or may not exist. October 17th started as a Thursday. By sunset, it was a crime scene without a crime, a vanishing act with no magician, a riddle that even time can't solve. The clock keeps ticking, but for Lina Singleton, it stopped at 8:47 a.m. Officially, the police labeled Lina Singleton's case as a missing persons investigation. But unofficially, theories exploded like wildfire. Some rooted in facts, others spiraling into the surreal. Let's untangle the web of possibilities, starting with the most obvious and ending with the unimaginable. The ex-boyfriend theory first up. The ex, Jake Morrow, dated Lina for 2 years. Their relationship ended 6 months before she vanished, messily. Friends say he'd show up unannounced at her apartment. Texts went unanswered. Once, he allegedly threw a mug at her wall during an argument. Police questioned him immediately. But here's the problem. Jake had an alibi. A solid one. On the morning of October 17th, he was 90 miles away, attending a mandatory anger management workshop. Security badges, eyewitnesses, even a time-stamped selfie during a coffee break placed him there. No way he could have made it to Knoxville and back without being seen. But Lina's family isn't convinced. He knew her routines, her sister said. He could have paid someone. Yet with no evidence linking him to the gas station footage or her abandoned latte, the theory collapsed. A dead end with a side of lingering suspicion. The gas station phantom next, the footage. That blurry figure in the cherry red scarf. When police enhanced the tape, things got strange. The figure stood 6 feet 2 inches. Lina was 5 feet 4 inches. Its shoulders sloped downward at an unnatural angle. Its gait? Jerky, like stop-motion animation. Engineers tried to clean up the audio. Beneath the hiss, they heard what sounded like garbled speech. Reverse it, and a Reddit user claimed it whispered. Not her. Authorities dismissed it as pareidolia, the brain finding patterns in noise. But amateur sleuths latched onto the idea of a copycat stalker. Someone mimicking Lina to throw off the timeline. Others went darker. That wasn't a person, argued one true crime podcaster. It was a manifestation, a bad omen. Either way, the footage remains the case's biggest paradox, a clue that explains nothing and everything at once. Lina's secret life, then there's the phone. 3 weeks after Lina vanished, her brother found a prepaid burner phone hidden in a tampon box under her bathroom sink. No contacts, no photos, just call logs to unregistered numbers, all traced to disposable devices. The last call, made at 2:13 a.m. the night before she disappeared, lasted 47 seconds. Who was on the other end? A stalker? A drug dealer? A secret lover? Police traced the number to a dead end, a kiosk at a mall 200 miles away, bought with cash. No cameras, no witnesses. Even stranger? The phone contained a single saved text. Don't trust the blue door. Lina's friends swore she'd never mentioned a blue door. Her apartment had no blue doors. But 2 months earlier, she'd sketched one in her journal, a bright cobalt door in a wall of bricks with no handle. Coincidence? Or a clue to a double life she kept buried? The taxi driver's whisper, and then, the rumor. In 2021, a retired taxi driver named Hector Morales came forward. He claimed he'd picked up Lina at 8:30 a.m. on October 17th, outside a diner near Riverside Park. She was crying, he said, begged me to drive her to Black Pine Woods, a remote area known for hiking trails and unsolved crimes. He dropped her off at the tree line, watched her vanish into the fog. But here's the catch. Hector didn't come forward until 4 years after Lina's disappearance. His taxi logs from that day were lost. No security footage, no receipt. Police found zero evidence placing Lina in those woods, not a footprint, not a fiber from her scarf. Skeptics called Hector a liar, an opportunist. But why wait 4 years? And why choose a story that couldn't be proven? The answer's buried in shadows like so much of this case. The unthinkable beyond these theories lies a question no one wants to ask. What if Lina wanted to disappear? Her journal entries drip with paranoia. Her secret phone. Her searches for GPS blockers. Maybe she staged it all. The gas station footage, the abandoned latte. to slip away and start over. But that doesn't explain the black boots in the tape, or the dead crow on her car, or the fact that her beloved Milo, the dog she raised from a puppy, was left locked in a bathroom. Would she really abandon him? Her family says no. Her friends say no. But then again, how well did any of them really know her? Every theory crumbles under scrutiny. The ex-boyfriend? Too far away. The phantom figure? Too surreal. The secret phone? Too vague. The taxi driver? Too late. And yet, each holds a sliver of truth. A flicker of what if. That's the curse of this case. Without a body, without a crime scene, without a motive, all we have are whispers. Stories that spiral into the unknown. Maybe that's why it haunts us. Not because of what we know, but because of what we'll never know. In any investigation, dead ends are expected. But in Lina Singleton's case, the so-called clues aren't just frustrating, they're taunting. Pieces of a puzzle that refuse to fit. Secrets that dangle just out of reach. Let's walk through the evidence that should have cracked this case wide open, and instead left everyone staring into the void. The laptop first, the laptop. When Lina's best friend, Claire, entered her apartment that morning, she found it sitting open on Lina's desk, screen still glowing. No password, no screensaver, just a single email draft addressed to Claire herself. The subject line, urgent read now. The body, 3 sentences. Claire, I need to tell you about it's worse than I thought. I don't know who else to. Please don't be mad at me. I had no coic. Then nothing. The cursor blinked on an empty line, as if Lina had been interrupted mid-thought. Police recovered the laptop, but the email's metadata revealed nothing. No drafts saved earlier. No deleted text. Just those fragments. What was she about to confess? A secret relationship? A stalker? A crime she'd witnessed? The word that hangs there maddeningly vague. The what? The man next door? The calls? The thing following me? Even stranger? The laptop's search history had been wiped clean, except for one entry at 3:07 a.m. the night before she vanished. How to erase browser history permanently. A question she'd ironically failed to answer herself. The black rose, then there's the rose. The day before Lina disappeared, her neighbor saw a delivery van pull up to her apartment. No company logo, no uniform, just a man in a baseball cap dropping a long black box on her doorstep. Inside, a single black rose. Not dyed, not painted, a genetically modified bloom, so dark it looked like a hole in reality. No card, no fingerprints, not even a speck of pollen. The box, a generic white cardboard, sold in bulk online. The florist shops in Knoxville? None had records of the order. When police traced the transaction, they hit a wall, paid in cash at a flower market in Memphis, 2 states away. But here's what chills me. Black roses symbolize death. Not grief, not revenge. Death. Specifically the end of something. A warning, a farewell. Was this a threat from someone she knew? Or a message she sent to herself? Lina's journal offers no answers. But on the page dated the day the rose arrived, she'd drawn a single flower, petals frayed like torn paper. Underneath, in shaky handwriting, it's here, the locked door. And now, the detail that twists this case from mysterious to macabre, Milo. Lina's rescue terrier, her shadow, her little guardian, as she called him. When Claire searched the apartment, she found Milo whimpering in the bathroom, a room Lina never used. The door was locked from the outside. Let me repeat that. A dog was locked in a bathroom by someone who wasn't Lina. Milo was a smart dog. He could open cabinets, nudge doors ajar. But deadbolts? Impossible. So who locked him in there? And why? The bathroom itself held no clues. No blood. No signs of struggle. Just Milo's paw prints on the tiles and an empty water bowl. But here's what police found odd. The lock was a twist handle, not a keyhole. To lock it from the outside, you'd need to close the door while holding the handle in the locked position. A deliberate two-handed move. Was someone hiding Milo so he wouldn't bark? Was he shoved in there during a struggle? Or was this a cruel joke? A way to make sure Lina's loyal companion couldn't protect her? The worst part? Milo's behavior changed after that day. He refused to enter the bathroom. He'd growl at strangers in red scarves. And once, when a detective replayed Lina's voicemail, he howled like he'd been struck. The pattern, or lack of it. Individually, these clues are baffling. Together, they form a nightmare logic that defies sense. Let's connect the dots that don't connect. The email. She starts to confess something. But to what? A threat? A secret? A mistake? The rose. A symbol of death delivered by a ghost. The dog, a witness who can't speak, trapped by hands we can't see. Police tried to link them. Maybe the rose was a warning, prompting Lina to write that email. Maybe Milo saw the person who took her. But without forensic evidence, it's all guesswork. Even the black rose's DNA led nowhere, a hybrid strain owned by dozens of horticulture labs worldwide. And then there's the timing. The rose arrives a day before she vanishes. The email is written hours before she disappears. The dog is locked in a room during her disappearance. It's a sequence, but to what end? A plan? A panic? The questions without answers. Let's end with the unanswerable. Why leave the laptop open? If someone wanted to hide secrets, why not smash it? Take it. Why a black rose? Why not just threaten her outright? And why lock the dog in the bathroom, but leave him alive? The simplest answer? Someone wanted us to find these clues, to taunt us, to muddy the waters, or to send a message only they understand. But here's the truth. Dead ends aren't walls. They're mirrors. They show us our own desperation to make sense of the senseless, to believe that a missing woman's story can't just end. Lina Singleton's case isn't a puzzle. It's a black hole. And these clues, they're not breadcrumbs. They're echoes. Echoes of a life interrupted, fading into the static of the unknown. Lina Singleton's story isn't just about a missing woman. It's about us. The fragile line between a normal day and a nightmare. The illusion that in a world of satellites, social media, and surveillance, we're somehow safe. That if we vanish, the digital fingerprints we leave behind, the texts, the selfies, the credit card swipes, will lead someone to us. But what if they don't? What if they just stop? Let's start with the obvious. We've all been Lina. We've all sent a "see you in 10" text. All rushed out the door with a coffee in hand. All laughed at a joke from a barista whose name we barely know. Her life wasn't extraordinary, and that's what terrifies us. Because if the universe can pluck someone like her out of existence, a woman who posted sunsets and rescued dogs and forgot to charge her phone, what's stopping it from taking you? The illusion of control. We live in an age of answers. You can track a pizza delivery in real time. You can see who viewed your Instagram story. You can map every step you've taken in a day with a few taps on your screen. But Lina's case shatters that illusion. Here's a woman who did everything right. She lived in a busy apartment complex with security cameras. She had friends, routines, digital breadcrumbs. And yet, in 17 minutes, she became a ghost. The gas station footage? Analyzed by experts in 3 countries. Enhanced, zoomed, filtered. Result: a pixelated question mark. Her phone? The last ping was near a park, but ground searches found nothing. Not a single thread from her scarf. Not a hairpin. Not a footprint. It's as if the earth opened up and swallowed her. And that's the hook this case sinks into our ribs. How? How, in 2023, does someone disappear without a trace? How do cameras see everything, except the one thing that matters? The family that never moves on. Then there's the human cost. Lina's mother still sets a plate for her at Thanksgiving. Her father repaints her childhood bedroom every year, just in case she wants it fresh. Her brother leaves comments on her Instagram. "Hey Lynn, saw this sunset and thought of you." These aren't acts of grief. They're acts of defiance. A refusal to let the world forget that Lina Singleton was here. But it's not just family. Strangers light candles every October 17th. Online forums dissect her case daily. A Reddit thread titled, "What Happened to Lina?" has 12,000 replies. Theories about time travel, government conspiracies, parallel universes. Why? Because the alternative, that this could happen to any of us at any time, for no reason at all, is too much to bear. The dog that still waits, even Milo, her dog, haunts us. Adopted by Lina's sister after the disappearance, he sits by the front door every morning at 8:03 a.m., whining, waiting, as if he doesn't understand that she's not coming back. Animals live in the present. They don't do hope. But Milo? He's a reminder that loss isn't just a human burden. It's a universal language. The question we're afraid to ask, which brings us to the heart of it. Could this happen to me? Could I text on my way and never arrive? Could my latte cool on a park bench while my family screams my name into the void? We tell ourselves no. We double-check our locks. Share our locations with loved ones. Carry pepper spray. But Lina's case whispers the truth. Safety is a story we tell ourselves. A story that cracks every time a missing persons poster goes up. Every time a parent begs for answers on the nightly news. Every time we walk home alone and glance over our shoulder, just in case. The cult of the unsolved. Why do we obsess over cases like Lina's? because they force us to stare into the abyss, to admit that for all our technology, our laws, our hashtags, the world is still a chaotic, unpredictable place. That evil doesn't always leave a calling card, that sometimes people just disappear. But there's another reason. Solving a mystery like this gives us power. If we can crack the code, find the meaning in the black rose, decode the gas station phantom, we can pretend the world makes sense, that there's a villain, a motive, a reason. Because the scariest possibility isn't a monster. It's nothing. No motive. No culprit. Just a life erased, as random as a lightning strike. The legacy of a ghost, Lina Singleton, isn't a victim. She's a mirror. She reflects our deepest fears. That we're not as safe as we think. That our loved ones could vanish between heartbeats. That the digital trails we leave behind are just echoes, not lifelines. Her case forces us to wonder, how many others are out there? How many Milos still wait by doors? How many half-written emails linger on screens, unanswered? How many families cling to rituals to keep a ghost alive? We'll never know. But here's what we do know. Every time you hear about Lina, you'll check your locks. You'll text a friend when you get home safe. You'll glance at that blurry gas station footage and wonder, what if? And that's why this case haunts us. Not because it's unsolved, but because it's unsolvable. A riddle wrapped in a ghost story, reminding us that the world is vast, dark, and utterly indifferent to our need for answers. Stay curious, stay safe, and remember, the next See You in 10 could be yours. Her voicemail still works. If you call Lina Singleton's number right now, you'll hear her voice. Hey, it's Lina. Leave a message and I'll call you back. Her mother refuses to disconnect it. What if she needs to reach us? She says, but after all these years, the mailbox is full. Hundreds of messages. Hundreds of please come home, please. And still silence. Because Lina isn't missing. She's gone. But her ghost? It's everywhere. The age she never reached, Lina would be 31 years old today. Old enough to have a career, maybe a family. Her high school friends post baby showers and promotions. Her favorite coffee shop closed last year. The world moved on. But not her mother. Every Christmas, she wraps a gift for Lina. Sweaters she'll never wear, books she'll never read. Last year, it was a framed photo of Milo, who passed away in his sleep. She'd want to know, her mother said. But grief doesn't need logic. It just needs to pretend. The comments that never stop scroll through Lina's Instagram today, and you'll find strangers leaving roses, emojis, and prayer hands. But Claire, her best friend, writes letters in the comments. We tried that new Thai place you loved. They still have the spicy noodles. I adopted a dog. His name's Milo Jr. You'd hate him. He's a slobber machine. I'm getting married next spring. You better crash the party. It's a one-sided conversation with a ghost. But maybe that's the point. If we keep talking to the vanished, do they stay real? The truth that never surfaces. Where is Lina Singleton? Buried in a forest? Living under a new name? Trapped in a nightmare we can't fathom? The answer is out there, in the grip of a killer's confession never made. In a trucker's memory of a hitchhiker he picked up in 2018. In a basement, a shed, a shallow grave disguised by wildflowers. Or maybe she's nowhere. Maybe she's stardust. Maybe she's the shadow you swear darted past your window at midnight. Maybe she's the static in your phone when you walk alone at night. The echo that never fades. Cases like Lina's don't end. They don't close. They linger in the corners of our lives. In the way you double-check your locks. In the chill when a text goes unanswered too long. In the flicker of a security camera light that feels alive. Lina's story isn't a mystery. It's a funeral without a body. A goodbye without a wave. A life reduced to a single unshakable question. How? We crave answers because answers mean control. But Lina's case is a reminder. Control is a fairy tale. The world is a haunted house, and we're all just walking through its halls, praying the floorboards don't crack beneath us. Final words. So we wait. We light candles. We refresh tip lines. We send messages to a ghost. Because as long as we remember her, Lina Singleton isn't gone. She's a ripple, a flicker, a breath on the back of your neck when you're alone in the dark. And if you listen closely tonight, past the hum of your fridge, past the creak of your house settling, you might hear it too. The echo of a woman who stepped into the light and left only a shadow. The echo of a question. The echo of Lina. 8. That sound you just heard? That's the Knoxville PD tip line. It rings every day. Sometimes it's a prank call. Sometimes static. But one day, it could be the call. The one that cracks this case wide open. And until then we wait. But waiting doesn't mean staying silent. The call to action, if you know anything, a detail too small to matter, a face you can't place, a story that never added up, call the number on your screen. Lina's family doesn't want theories. They want answers. And sometimes answers hide in the unlikeliest corners. A stranger's memory, a dusty receipt, a nightmare you can't shake. You might hold the key and not even know it. The warning, for the rest of us? This isn't just a true crime story. It's a lesson. Stay vigilant. Notice the man who lingers too long at your bus stop. The car that idles outside your neighbor's house. The chill that crawls up your spine when you walk home alone. These aren't paranoid thoughts, they're survival instincts. Lina's case taught us that. Stay curious, too. Question the shadows. Rewatch the gas station footage. Dig into the comments section. Because curiosity isn't just a trait, it's a weapon. And in a world where people vanish into thin air, it's the sharpest one we've got. The haunting truth, some mysteries don't just haunt us. They carve themselves into our DNA. They change how we lock our doors, how we text home safe after dark, how we side-eye strangers who know our coffee order. Lina's disappearance isn't a chapter in a textbook. It's a scar. And scars, they remind us what we've survived and what we still fear. The subtle push, don't look away. Don't let this story fade into the background noise of clickbait and conspiracy theories. Hit subscribe, because we're not done digging. Not even close. There are more shadows to shine a light on, more ghosts to name, and more voices like Lina's that deserve to be heard. Until next time, trust your gut, question the ordinary, and remember, the darkest secrets hide in plain sight, waiting for someone brave enough to see them.